I'm now joined by Mike Bako from New York City, his sports managing editor and thedailynational.com. Thanks so much for joining us, sir. Let's talk about the Super Bowl event. Tell our international audience what are the highlights that they should watch tonight.
Well, they should obviously watch the game, but as your reporter was mentioning, as you were discussing, it's much more than just the game. It's almost a national holiday here in the U.S., from Super Bowl parties to the halftime show to the Super Bowl commercials. You know, the action on the field is one sort of game, and the action off the field for the casual fan is something completely different. It's the one time that everyone in the U.S. almost seemingly is watching the same thing. Over 100 million probably in audience this year, if not a little bit more. But it's the thing that when you go into work the next day, everyone will have an opinion either on the game, on the commercials, on the halftime, on the food that they ate. So it's that type of event here in the U.S. when everyone can come together.
And then this is not just an American sport anymore, right? It's expanding into Asia, into Europe,
Absolutely.
And even to China.
It is expanding into China. There's certainly the China Arena Football League. The U.S. and Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, has taken great lengths to broaden the scope of the National Football League as a property, as a sports entity, doing games in London. The prospect of an expansion team, maybe in London, or an NFL team currently moving to London. But with the same way that the NBA has become a global sport, Major League Baseball in Latin American countries and in Japan and some of the other Asian countries, the NFL, while not slow to becoming an international game, certainly does not have that natural foothold that basketball or baseball, certainly soccer, football, does around the rest of the country. So it's getting there, and China being one of those markets that it's looking to get into.
Well, Mike, what's unique about this year's halftime show? Because it's also a big event for our audience around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big event this year is Justin Timberlake, certainly a global star when it comes to music and acting. If you remember back in the early 2000s, he had a very infamous Super Bowl halftime appearance with Janet Jackson that turned into a big incident where there was some nudity involved at the end of their performance, where he pulled back Janet Jackson's shirt. Probably not going to happen this go around. They're certainly much more careful about scripting things and making sure that things like that don't happen. But the halftime show, Justin Timberlake, and it's really become a platform and a forum for some of the biggest pop music stars to present themselves. Last year with Lady Gaga, Pink is singing the national anthem this year. You know, you've had rock stars like Prince, Tom Petty, certainly Bruce Springsteen, and U2 have done memorable halftime shows. So Justin Timberlake obviously has a new album out here in the U.S. and around the world. He's one of those stars that's looking to make even more of a name for himself and reach a bigger audience.
We'll see how this year's halftime show turns out. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Movie star Chris Wu is the first Chinese to have performed on the Super Bowl stage. He was featured in a pregame show. Let's hear his assessment of the Super Bowl and the American football games.
其实就是小时候刚来到这个北美这边，就是那时候在学习嘛，就读书，然后其实每年这个时候还是挺大影响力，就是非常轰动，因为这件事情确实，就是北美这边他们非常的重视，就像一个节日一样有点啊，对，所以每年都很盛大，然后每年这个表演啊环节啊，也会很精彩，然后比赛很精彩，所以其实一直都有关注吧，但其实只是关注超级碗这个活动 Super Bowl 比较多一些。那其实，这个本身这个运动我倒是确实没有篮球那么的关注那么多，这实话实说啊。但是我觉得这个运动还是同样就是还是非常有这个团队跟竞技性非常强的一个运动。其实跟篮球也有些相似吧，对，但是更多是身体的一个冲撞会更多一些。那这一方面，其实我觉得也是啊。